Welcome to Trading with T. Today is April 29th. And I'm going to wait for a couple people to get on here because they said they wanted to get on here. Yeah. So. Okay. So I just want to allow everyone time to get on that wants to hop on and everything like that. I'm only going to give everybody a couple minutes because people that want to be on here, that'll be on here. This video is also posted to my YouTube channel that you're probably watching it from. If you're part of the group, welcome. I'm Tiara. Nice to meet everyone. If you're a YouTube watcher, hi everyone. Yeah. So I'm going to let a few more people get on, then I'm going to get right into some charts. And also, another thing that I like to do, because Sunday starts the trading week off, I like to do a little mindset. So because I have a couple people hitting me up like, where's your live at? So how's everyone doing? Interact in the chat. I can see the chat messages this time. So if you want to see a pair, let me know. Pair requests. So if you have any pair requests, again, just put them in the chat. We'll be checking it this time. I know how to use my YouTube Live account now, so yes. I'm gonna give it one more minute, and I'm starting at 7:10 because I was having technical difficulties with starting in the first place. So yeah, if you're up here, I appreciate you for being up here. If you're not, I hope you're watching it. Great. So just one more minute. I know you guys are eager to get into these charts. Let me see. Let's see page. Copy. Okay, it is now 7:10, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. So again, my name is Tiara. I've been trading for about 5-6 months, and I've pretty much gotten like a solidified strategy with myself and some confidence in my trades and like my analysis and stuff like that. So I've been really just more so, I guess, cleaning it up, fixing any small mistakes, because I feel like your first 6, 8, 12 months of trading, it's kind of like that trial and error. Even though you would consider something that you've been doing for a year, like you know it, we all think that we know things, but then there's always something that we find out that we don't know. So it's just like at any point in your life, you're a student, always a student. That's the number one thing that you need to remember with trading, always a student. And another big thing with trading is discipline. How well can you control yourself? How well can you control your impulsive decisions and thoughts? Trading teaches you like a mindset to have. It teaches you like how to handle life, because you don't. A lot of people don't have patience. I don't have patience. I don't have any patience at all. So Forex really has taught me how to get that patience, and I have applied that skill to other skills in my life. That's a life skill. So it's just like Forex isn't a job to me. It's a lifestyle, because it's taught me life skills. It's taught me things that I know I needed to be doing, but I didn't do at the time. So it's just like Forex is going to change your life if you allow it to change your life. Like, this is one of those things that you just have to accept. A lot of things that come into our lives, we try to deny. Just accept this. Accept the fact that you want to excel in this skill set. Accept the fact that you're going to make hella money, and accept the fact that you have the mindset of a trader. The mindset of a trader is going to get you very, very far. Again, be disciplined with your trading. Traders with no plan are the traders that fail. Traders with no plan are the traders that fail. If you see people talking mess about Forex and it doesn't work, those are the undisciplined traders. Those are the ones that were just trying to get that quick money. We are not trading for money here. We're trading for pips. Pips is the goal. Pips. That is the main goal. If you can catch pips, you're going to get the money. Regardless, it goes hand in hand. So I'm not worried about the money. I want the pips. How many pips can I get? Because I know if I catch a certain amount of pips, I'm going to get a certain amount of money. So it's just like, I'm not even worried about that. Again, I really do try to push mindset a lot, because that is going to make or break your trading. Like, mindset. Do not trade when you're emotional. Do not trade when you're doubtful. Do not trade when you're fearful. Do not trade if you are having doubt. You need 100% confidence. If you're one of those people that enter a trade and be like really scary and always like watching a trader for, close the trade, or like wait till it goes like 1 cent in profit and trade, or close it, because you're gonna be stressed the whole time you're trading. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the charts. I'm gonna go over the charts that I've really good setups on this week, and not probably live. So okay. How do I? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start with the DX. So let me look at that real quick. So I always kind of like to look at my pairs on the daily time frames. I like to see how big the movements are going to be and how possible swings and stuff like that. So, and if you notice on the daily, we've been entering on this dollar ever since Trump was in office, since 2017. If the rest of the chart will load. Right. So when the rest of the chart loads, so you can see here, 2017, January and ever since just been on this steady decline. Then we hit this point of resistance, touch this kind of point. So moving on, if you want to keep the dollar hedging, so if you look back here, this was like straight directional movement, But right here we have this ranging market, and the ranging market is just like goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's kind of like consolidation, but on a bigger scale consolidation. Because what consolidation do you know that moves like 200, 300 pips? That's not really consolidation, so we call it a ranging market. This would be an example of what a ranging market would look like, that up and down movement. So honestly, it's kind of sort of what you could say consolidation, because it really didn't move out of this area for so long. Like since the beginning of the year, we just been this up down area and haven't really broken out of it until we got to this week. So this week, I had put a box around this price action because I wanted to see a breakout. There was pretty good news and confirmation for me to see a breakout, so I really put a box around this price action here, just because I kept seeing price touch this area multiple times and not really do anything. So I was really expecting a actual breakout of this, whether it was week or next month, where it was going, and I was right. So this week that just passed, these past 2 weeks actually, or this week more so, the dollar went up. We saw some dollar strength, and therefore me knowing how market works and how market structure usually likes to follow and everything like that, when there is such a big impulse like this, and what I mean by impulse is it's a clear directional move, right? How do you know this is an impulse? Okay, so we have big body candles and not really many dojis. So like all these dojis and stuff, right? We don't see that right here that much. I mean, you see like that these pin bars and like these two, but that's not really anything to be concerned about. This is clearly a directional movement to the upside. So then we got this pin bar / doji close on, which was for when I have a doji on the daily, that means either one or two things to me. One, the movement is going to continue like it kind of did here with this candle close, and then the next will continue up. Or two, when it's like a pin bar like this, I can expect like either reversal continuation. So for me, I'm personally expecting a downward move. And also, if you do use indicators, which I've been trying not to use, I don't really use indicators anyway, but I do use RSI. I'll use RSI for like divergence and stuff like that. But therefore, so you can see that what I've done here with this particular pair is I did the fib extension. So I put it at the bottom, not the exact bottom. I didn't put it down here just because it broke out of this box and it didn't break out of this one. So I made sure I just put it right here. Or, I mean, you could, I guess you could put it right here for even more accuracy, I guess you could say. So from the bottom of the impulse to the top, and to where I think it will possibly retrace. So logically, the first thing that I would do was put it in the area for this box. Price action has to test again. Price action repeats itself. So if I were to like go all the way over here, I'm pretty sure the last time that we hit this area, we went up. And look, we did. The last time we hit the area, we went up, which we did. Now it's time for retracement, because there's never like a huge impulse that just keeps going and going and going. What goes up has to come down. That's gravity that works before it expires. So I'm using my fib extension. This is kind of how I get my interest and my take profits. So if I were hypothetically to put my fib extension to retrace 50% of this move, it lines up. The 50 is on the supply zone, and where it retraces, demand zone. Perfect. So it does match up. Okay. Or if I was to put, let's say you're one of those, okay, touch the trend line and go back up type of people. Okay, those numbers match up. You want to put a take profit right there. If you were looking to trade the DXY, I would personally put my take profit anywhere from the 38.2 to this 50%, just because the 38.2 is not only a continuation / reversal zone, and the 50% fib is usually what the markets like to give back. The market likes to give back usually 50%. Now, does it always give back the full 50%? No. But again, if we're using price action and logically we're looking left, okay, this area has been touched a couple times, but when we look on this 50% fib, this area has been touched way many more times than the 38.2. So it's logical for me to expect the dollar to go down, especially after such a big move like that as of right now. So that's what I'm looking at on the dollar. So on the dollar, if the dollar is going up, pairs that start with USD are going to move like the DXY. If the dollar is going down, pairs ending in USD will move the opposite. So if the dollar goes down, and let's say GU is a pair I want to look at, GUs should be buying if the dollar is going down. If that makes sense. So, all right, then to some more pairs. So EU. Again, on the daily, I love the daily. I always do. This is what I was marking up though. So again, so if logically speaking, if the dollar is supposed to go down, then we're looking for possible buys on EU. So if you are in the trading group, you'll see that one of the signals posted was a buy for EU, which I will explain if you don't understand why there was a buy posted. I mean, a lot of people, or a couple of people, were asking me why people were selling GU and we were saying it's a buy and things like that. So I'm gonna kind of explain that so there's no confusion on that part. I'm gonna darken my fibs so everyone can see them better. Okay. So we're on the daily. Cool. So again, with this ranging market type of thing, up, down, up, down, up, down. Directional movement is like this. Just a clear directional movement. This has no true direction because it's just like there's no true direction to this. But what I did again last week, when I feel like there should be a breakout or something, if I want to look for an entry or something like that, put a box around it, right, guys? If you're looking for an entry, put a box around the price action area that you are looking at. And if price breaks and retests that box in a certain way, you have your entry. So with that being said, we were on a clear uptrend on the daily of EU for a while, and then we reached this level of resistance. So price touched here a couple times, but never went back to that area. So what I am looking at on this, so also what I did was for in retrospect, what I also did was I put a fib from this low all the way to this high. And if you look at where we are, we're retracing towards this 23.6 fibs. So if you know about retracements, the deeper the retracement, the more you're slowing down the move. So also another thing that I had noticed about EU when I was marking it up, let me keep that there real quick. Move this. So I put a fib again. This breakout high, right? Because this is where price started breaking out. We had this breakout, and then I went down from here. So I made sure I put my fib from this impulse move. Again, like I was saying, when you have big impulse moves like this, there has to be a retracement somewhere. And if you look at how my chart is lined up, you'll see that my arrows are touching this zone. This is a very important zone for EU. EU has touched this zone so many times. And since the fact that we even got this low, below this low, it would have to test this low again at some point to me logically, just because not only is that 50% retracement, but price action, we have good price action for this to do so. And also looking left, you know, the more you look left, the more you find clues. So it's just like even when we did go down, there's still always retracement. So going down here, there's retracement. So going up here, retracement. Like there's always going to be a retracement once you have these big, I mean by impulse moves is big candles, not too many dojis, clear directional movement. Clear directional movement, guys. So another thing, I really like fib extension because it really helps me understand the markets as well. So when I was doing the fib extension, I'll kind of redo it to help y'all understand a little bit more. So again, if we're going for a sell, you're going to do it from the top of this impulse to the bottom of this impulse into where you would think it would retrace. Now for me, I want to see a 50% retracement. Now, like I said before, there's not always going to be a full 50% retracement, but that is ideally what I want to see. So when I did my fib extension to the 50% of this move on this fib, the same exact fib of this extension, I mean this retracement, this whole Fibonacci that I've put right here for this move, this is the Fibonacci for this move. So this extension, right, 50% lines up perfectly and it hits my zone. So even though I go to a smaller time frame, again, price action has already kind of started to move how I wanted to. So I'm not saying that it will be like there will be no little small pullbacks in between this move, retracement move, because it's very possible. But I do think that EU is definitely either going to hit exactly at that 2200 to anywhere to 1.225. I mean, a lot of people like the 61.8 fib because it is the golden ratio of Forex. But for me, I want to play it safe. I'm in my zone. I see that my zone lines up with the 50%. I'm going to put my take profit at the 50%. Simple as that for me. So that's what EU I'm looking for. I don't trade Sunday. I don't really trade the day of Monday, but I will trade the London session. So that is EU. Is there any questions so far? I don't see any chat, so I'm gonna keep going. Just let me know if I'm going too fast. Oops, let me not do that. GJ, since we're on GJ. For my GJ lovers. GJ, same thing. GJ is on crack. Like GJ moves so much in a day, it's crazy. So again with GJ, I just like saying that. I don't know why. Anyways, my chart disappeared. Okay, that's fine. It's not like I needed it or anything. Okay, there we go. Cool. So let me move all this mumbo jumbo out the way so everyone can see what I'm saying and how it will make sense in just a second. Oops. I don't even know where I had this. Okay. Okay. So we were in a downtrend with GJ starting the beginning of this year. Then we hit this support, and we never went back down here again. And ever since then, we've been on this uptrend until about a couple weeks ago. So we broke the trend in a way. So breaking the trend and starting a new trend, like totally starting a new trend, it's two different things. Why? Because you need actual confirmation that is a new trend. So when there is a new trend, the lowest low of the previous trend has to be tested, and there has to be a higher high made after that. So a higher high and a higher low is what the uptrend is. Lower highs and lower lows, or a downtrends are. So when you see these higher highs and higher lows being made, this is what characterizes a uptrend. So with that being said, we reached this point of resistance and never came back up here as far as candle closing above. These are only wicks. Wicks don't count to me. I need an actual candle close above. If there was, like actual confirmation that this could continue up at that point, I would need actual candle closes. Wicks are wicks. Like wicks just mean that price touched there, but it didn't close there, if that makes sense. I mean, it touched there, but it didn't necessarily close right there. So, again, we went to this area, never came back, and we started this downtrend. And especially with this big, huge bear candle right here from last week. So what I did was to explain my chart, because it's not really as messy as it looks, but I mean, your chart is to your understanding. So with that being said, I'm going to explain it. So basically, again, I made this fib from the low to the high. And if you notice where we are on this fib, the deeper the retracement, the more we're slowing down the move. The move, which would be the uptrend that it wanted to go in. So it retraced to the 23.6. Okay, slow down the move. Then it came back up a little bit, then it retraced, and now hit the 38.2. Okay, cool. So if you know what the 38.2 is, 38.2 is either a reversal or a continuation area. So, trying to take my watch off. So with that being said, at that point, then I did my retracement because I don't know why. I love this thing. So from the bottom to the top, okay, again, if I want to see that 50% retracement full out, this would be that full 50%. So once price hits around 1.49400, or if it was like hypothetically, because the market doesn't always move how you want it to, hypothetically, this would be that full percent retracement. But there isn't always a full 50% retracement. So even in such case, this still lines up as a continuation or reversal type of pattern. So at this point, since we're on the daily, I would have to go to a lower time frame to continue my analysis. But I'm going to stay on here as of right now because I still want to explain my chart. So another thing I would do, after I noticed that, then the next thing I did was put my fib from this high and if you look on it, we just hit that 23.6, and now we have this little small candle because the candle just opened at 2 my time. So we have that little small candle trying to do whatever it wants to do. So this impulse had reached the 38.2, which I said is a continuation or reversal. It reversed to the 61.8 and the 75% fib. Then from the 75% fib, it went down. So another thing I I did was I'm gonna measure the retracement of this. So I was just like, well, how much will this retrace? So if this is the low, it retraced it right here at this point, right? So, and I'm gonna move these over to the right so y'all can see it better with the lines. Okay, whatever. Okay, so boom. Throw this up a little bit more. So again, what I was saying about that 75% fib. So this move right here, it came to that 38.2, reverse, hit the 75% fib, but look at where it is now. So it's around that 75, 78.6 area. So if you know, again, about Fibonacci, the deeper retrace, the more it's slowing down the move. Again, so if something is retracing this deeply, especially to the 75 and 78.6, that's pretty good indication that we're gonna have a reversal soon for me too. Not only does something hit, like going from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, that's a full reversal indication, but the 75% and the 78.6 fibs are pretty good indicators for either a reversal or continuation too. Those are like, it's kind of like the 61.8 to me. When it's like double the confirmation. When I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, something's gonna happen real big, real soon. And if you wanted to do it from here, the retracement of this, that whole candle, full out retracement, and from there, that's 1.27. So it's just like, sheesh. Okay, GJ needs to go up like now. Like all this confirmation is going crazy. We got the 75% fibs and all that. I'm looking for GJ to go up. Now there is a possibility that GJ could go down some more and give us a full 50% retracement. So in that case, if it was to do that, even more confirmation. This whole candle itself is just like the biggest impulse in life. So, you know, based on price action, what I'm expecting GJ to do is, if it does go just a little bit lower, it's probably, if it does a little bit lower, it's probably get that 50% retracement, then go back up. Or very possible that GJ just goes up from where it is. So on this 4 hour, I like to look at the 4 hour, because 4 hour candles are amazing when it comes to verses and stuff like that. So boom, look what we have here. Pin bar doji. We got these bull candles ready to warm up. The bulls are they're trying to get in this market. Look how oversold this this pair, I'm not gonna curse, but this pair is. Like the RSI has it like at rock bottom. The RSI is like, please come up, please come up. And then just looking at, let's look left, guys. Like, let's look left for a second. Okay, boom. So we kind of had similar price action in retrospect if you look even further back. But once we got to this point, again, even though there was a little dip here, which is very possible, which might happen here. So there's a upwards move, a little small retracement. So possible for us to retrace and continue our move. Very, very possible. Since GJ had the hugest impulse ever, that candle alone, I feel like was, let me count how many pips that was. I mean, like the reversal has to be crazy on this pair just because of how big this move was in one day. So one day this candle moved 200 pips. So okay, I'm gonna need my 50% back. So the market wants to give me 50 to 100 pips. 50% is 100, but if we're playing it safe because we don't know what the markets will do, we're gonna say 50 to 100. Because 50 pips will, is still plenty enough. And you can put multiple entries. But anyways, so back to the 4 hour. So this 4 hour candle closed as like pin bar, doji, and it was a bearish candle. This one right here. And another thing that I noticed on this pair, which I've noticed on all the other pairs that I like, that I didn't mention on EU, but I did see it, is this. This was the guys. That's why I say 4 hour candle closes are key, because this would have given you the best entry ever. These are railroad candles. Pay attention to these candle closes, guys. Like, especially if you're a swinger. I'm like an intraday trader. I'm always looking at the 4 hour and the daily. I don't really even mess with the 1 hour or anything like that unless I'm trying to get an entry. Just looking at these railroad candles, that is the biggest kind of indicator for me that there's going to be a reversal. And look, even if you had waited, you still would have got a pretty good entry. Even if you had waited, you still would have got a good entry. You still would have got a good entry. You could have caught those 200 pips. Easy, just like that. So GJ is on my watch list for a buy retracement. You, my favorite pair. So again, since I'm already on the 4 hour, I might as well just go ahead. Again, what we're probably going to see on these pairs is they probably are gonna drop to these 50% retracements, because that's what it's starting to look like, even on GU. So again, we have these railroad candles here, at that big sell move. Again, now we had a similar bar, right? Pin bar, bear. It's a bear candle and it's a pin bar. So what I do, again, box these candles, guys. When you want a good move, first of all, you want a good entry. You don't want to just enter a pair and then like be in hell and drawdown, then go be in profit. No, you want a good entry and you want a solid setup. You don't want to just be just clicking buttons. That's not what this is. That's gambling. I don't gamble. I lose money. So with that being said, put a box around stuff like this, guys. Like, it's okay to wait. Like, you don't have to be in a trade 24/7. And it pays off too, because whenever there is a breakout retest of this area, whether it's to the downside or the upside, it's pretty much like a guarantee that you're going to catch that move because you were patient enough to wait for that setup too. So again, we have that doji, and we got, pin bar, doji, boom. Cool. Okay, so it looks like we have a pretty solid setup here. So let me go to the daily. Again, so what I noticed about GU was selling for a long time over here. Then we dipped down to this support, and we never ever went back down to this level again. So it basically touched this level, and that was over with. It went up. But then we came over here, but we couldn't pass this level. So it was touched a couple times, and it wasn't passed. So therefore, we started the movement down. So Another thing I was saying, can we say this is a totally new trend? Yes or no? Who knows? Who knows the answer to that? If you know the answer, put it in the comments if you're real. But basically, these areas have now been tested fully. So in order for me to say, okay, this is an entirely new trend, low made, below this box, this orange box I had, there has to be a lower low made for me to say, okay, now we're on a whole different trend. But are we on a different trend? Who knows? We could very possibly still be going up. And eventually, like after this move, we could eventually, retrace the upside, go back down and go up. Or we could retrace and then keep going down. It's, who knows? Price action can tell us though. So, with that being said, another thing that I did with GU, because GU is my favorite pair. I really like to play around with it and the numbers and everything like that. So what I did was I went over to the left here on the daily, and I went from the high and to this low. And what I noticed was that when I did this area, this resistance was 61.8% of this sell over here. 61.8%. So again, if you know something about retracements, the deeper the retracement, the more you're slowing down the move. So every time this pair went up, it was slowing down the momentum for this move. Obviously, because it went in a whole new trend. Like this is obviously a whole new trend. It tested not only this area, but this area as well and kept going. So in order for me to say that GU will be in a downtrend, we would need for this area as well to be tested to make that lower low. But again, so also if you look here, this is 50% of that other sell move. And if you look over here, that's kind of where we are as of right now. This candle right here is kind of in the middle of that 50%. And so another thing that I did was I put a regular fib from the high to the low of this candle, which is on this side, and so if it's not touched again like that, this will just remain the supply zone. And again, looking at this price action, if there was new momentum, I would need a breakout of this zone to the downside, retest, and then a continuation down. But based on looking how this looks, every time it kind of hits the zone, it just spikes. So I'm looking for a spike back up. And then the next thing that I did was I did my fib extension. So from the top to the bottom to where I think it is going to retrace. So 50 kind of like my size, and it lines up on the 38. You want to play it safe with your price, and you say, okay, well, it's probably going to test this red zone here. Cool. You can make that your first TP, and then right after that, you can make this 50% your TP, or you can make the 61 your third TP. So it's just like you have several options with this. And also on the RSI, this pair is like so oversold, it's ridiculous. So, and then we go to the 4-hour. So again, railroad candle close. You got that pin bar, doji. So we're just like, we're waiting on price action to give us some momentum at this point. At this point is a breakout retest in whichever direction of this box right here. And since again there was such a big impulse last week, I'm definitely expecting a retracement of the move. So that is GU. I'm waiting for this to load. Okay. So AU on vehicles, AU does what it's supposed to do, you know, comes home at the right, listens to you when you need someone to talk to, you know what I mean? So let me stop. But AU is a pretty good pair if you're a newbie. I really do recommend AU for you to start trading because it's such an easy pair to understand and to, you know, trade. So boom. We're clearly on a downtrend. And I'm a wave trader as well. I don't like to get too much into waves because it can get kind of complex sometimes. But the basis of a wave is just this. So then we have a correction. So, and most likely our correction is going to be here. So this is basically like what the waves are. And how they look. So in retrospect, you could also, well, I'm gonna keep it like this because I like how that looks. But anyways, so I put a trend line because clearly it's following a trend, and then I put a fib. So high to low, boom, hit supply zone, never really hit that area again. Now we're gonna look left. Looking left, guys, what do we see? Support, and every time it pretty much goes back up. And what do I do when I see stuff like this? Use the tools that TradingView gives you. Use it to see. So, boom. Hit this box, go up. Hit this box, go up. Now, we did have this one time or a couple times over here a bit. But for the most part, 2017, in the end of 2017, we had a pretty good upwards movement every time we touch this box. So what I'm expecting for this to do as well, touch the box, go up. Cool. Simple. Another thing. So another thing I did, because this is impulse to the from the top of the impulse to the bottom of the impulse, and this is a regular fib, by the way. So based on my zones and everything, and RSI kind of backs you up too, and price action, market structure all backs me up for me to say like, oh, okay, well, this looks like it's definitely going to retrace to the upside. Whether it traces the full 50% or not, cool. But again, another thing with price action, it hit this area. If we were looking for area to be the area that we need to be looking for, and it also just so happens that that area is on the 50%. So it's just like, okay, well, that kind of like doubles the confirmation for me, because it's just like, well, I'm already expecting the markets to kind of go towards that 50% retracement anyway. But now that I kind of see it on, it's just like, okay, or previously has, because that's how price action works. History repeats itself, and so does the market. So again, 50% retracement. If I go to the 50, It matches up 50% perfectly. 61.8 matches up 61.8% perfectly. So it's just like, that's just added confirmation for me with my extension. Again, with the boxing of stuff, I'm gonna make this not as, yeah, okay. So if you were concerned about price action and like, oh, should I enter now? Da 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 da. Again, box price action, guys. Put a box around price action if you don't feel confident. Wait for that breakout retest. That's the safest way that you can save your money and your time. Because it's just like, well, it hasn't broken out yet. Well, I don't need to enter. Simple as that. So clearly we reached the supply zone, didn't touch it again, and then we had these 3 bullish 4-hour candles, and then we have this doji right here. So if dojis indicate reversals or continuation. So it's very possible, like I said before, with all the pairs for them to touch their support or even go a little bit lower, then retrace how we're expecting. So when people are saying, oh, buy this, buy that, doesn't necessarily mean right now. So when people are saying signals or like giving signals, make sure you're asking them what they mean and stuff like that, because I know it can definitely get confusing for new people. So that's just my little reminder to you all. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I like to ask questions. I like to answer questions. So you feed off of the people you're around. So again, box around price action, wait for that breakout retest, entry. Cool. AU. And the last pair I'm gonna go over is AJ. I don't really trade AJ. Don't really trade exotic pairs, I guess you could say. It's not really an exotic pair. It's just a weird pair that's weird or foreign to me. I guess you could call exotic. Whatever your preference is, it's weird. It's a weird pair. When would you see the yen and the Australian dollar together? That's kind of like, okay, that's kind of different, because it is. So it's basically like you're putting a slow moving pair like an AU and then a fast moving pair like the yen together, and it's just like, well, I see why you move like this, because yen pairs are always usually volatile. So with that being said, I see a potential opportunity on here that I'm going to go over really quickly, and then I'm gonna go about my day. So okay. Again, we were on a clear downtrend at this point over here. Then we got to this support and we never touched it again as of March. Area of support in March, and we never went back down to it again. And also peep these low-key railroad candles right here, because that would have given you the clue that this reversal is going to happen. Okay, but besides that, so I don't know what I was like there. Okay, so the next thing that I did was put a fib from the high, not from the high, from the low to the high of this, like this impulse move right here. So as of right now, we to the pretty dang close. So it's just like we do have a little bit of room still to go down to complete the move, and it's very possible because that it will continue down, because we have plenty of price action here as well. So in this full 50% retracement of this impulse, this is the price action that we would look for to be tested before we would look for it to go up. And if you do follow RSI, the RSI still has a little bit more room to go down as well. Yeah, so the RSI still has plenty of room to go down too. So I'm looking at this pair to continue down just a little bit more. Not too much, like not like really like a whole thing. I'm not expecting like this thing to this area at all. If it does go any lower than 50%, I would expect it to hit this price action area right here where these railroad candles were. Oh, so that's where I would expect that price action to go. And also when I did that retracement, okay, again, with the zones and the extension, it all like kind of lines up for that 50%. If I wanted to if I took it down a little bit more, 61.8% hits that zone box. So it's just like, does your fibs and everything, does everything match up with your zones? Does everything match up with your strategy and stuff like that? You have to think about stuff like that when you're trading. Does this pair match up to my techniques, or not your techniques, to my technical analysis? Does this pair match up to what I would say is a good trade? Does it match up to, it doesn't matter if it matches up to someone else. That's someone else's account. That's not your money. When you're trading, you have to think like, this is my money I'm putting on the line, so I need shit together and like figure this out. So if numbers don't lie to me, I'm a numbers person. If you show me some numbers, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Perfect. Like that, I like that. When numbers match up, I like that. So then again, because the 4-hour candles are important. Again, with this boxing thing that I do, important that you do these box zones, because if you look at it, it's not been broken down to the downside yet, but it did have a little break out to the upside. And if you counted that, that was like, a nice little quick scalp. But since then, it's kind of been like, consolidating in a way. Like this is no true movement. This is not consolidation. Like this is pure consolidation. This is not moving anywhere. So for me to enter this trade, once again, I would need a full breakout retest of this box, whether it's a quick scalp or whatever you're trying to accomplish. I need a breakout retest of this box for me to enter any trade. So as far as this trade, looking at it, there's a bull pin bar that just, or is that still going? Yeah, that's still going. So well, that's not it, but the pin, it closed, this candle closed as pin bar, doji, and it was a bull candle. And as of right now, if you can see this little thing right here, it's kind of going in between green and purple. So we're not really going to know until 2 hours from now. So with AJ, if you are looking at AJ, please expect a movement to the downside, because this pair still has a little bit more room to go down before it will be traced back up. I am definitely looking for a retracement of this move, just because when you have big impulses like this, there has to be some type of retracement, and there hasn't really been a retracement. If you guys understand, like this retraced here, for this was a retracement of this, but what is the retracement for these moves? So understand, this retracement is for this, but what is the retracement for these moves? This is just basically consolidation. These last couple of days, doji, pin bars, doji, whatever, barely have a full candle. We only have 2 candles, and those candles that were full are bare. So it's just like we need to wait for price action, and also looking at market structure, looking left. When we hit this zone, usually we either do a reverse. We need to make sure that we're watching price action and that we're following our technicals and our analysis. So that is all of the pairs that I wanted to go over. Is there any questions from anybody? I know I was going on for a little bit. I've been on for like an hour, so if anyone has any questions, just let me know. The fuck? My phone died. But yeah. Anyone have any questions? Yes, no, maybe so. Forever hold your peace. And don't see any comments or questions, so I'm going to assume everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands what I'm talking about. I really want to thank everybody for getting on and watching and learning with me. I really, really appreciate all the support I've been getting from you guys, and I really just want us to all learn and get this money together, like, period. So let's get to it. Bye, y'all.